So not everybody wants to know the Sanskrit, but for those of you who do, the downward and grounding energy is Apana Vayu, and the upward and expanding energy is Udana Vayu. So we have Apana Vayu and Udana Vayu. And Vayu literally means wind, and prana is considered to be the ultimate of that energetic movement of wind, but it encompasses all the energy. So that was a lot of information. Apana Vayu and Udana Vayu are the two that we're going to focus on today. And when you come back on Wednesday and we do a core practice, that'll focus on an entirely different Vayu. So let's come to take a comfortable seat. And as you sit, just bringing your center of gravity closer to the ground is one of those ways that you enable that Apana Vayu, that grounding and downward energy to happen with very little effort, just sitting. And so from here, as we usually do, take a few moments to move your sitting bones, shift in your seat, feel the connection of the ground. Rest your hands on your legs and lift your shoulders up and back. And as you take your gaze downward, just take a couple moments to let yourself look at the ground with a little softness to your eyes. So blink your eyes a couple times. And notice yourself in this space, in this grounded place. And take a couple big breaths. Noticing your inhales and exhales starting to become even and full. Noticing your inhales and exhales starting to find that smoothness in transition. See if you can allow that transition from the inhale to the exhale and from the exhale to the inhale to almost not have a start or a finish. If you'd like, you can close your eyes. And as you take those couple of breaths, noticing the connection with the ground, notice even more lift through your spine, through the crown of your head. And even allow your gaze, even though your eyes are closed, to start to tilt a little bit upward. It starts to bring in some of this Udana Vayu, this upward and outward energy. Bring fingertips to connect with the floor now if you're sitting in a place where you can reach the floor. Push down and lift up higher. So ground, find that downward rooting energy. And from that, allow yourself to sit even taller. Take a full deep inhale, long full exhale in and out of your nose. And now connect hands together at heart center. Take a deep inhale and find that reach in both directions, up and down. Exhale, bow toward your heart, honoring yourself for taking this time to tune into these energies. Softly open your eyes, release your hands down. And again, notice that connection of sitting bones and whatever you're sitting on. And then turn your palms and inhale, stretch up, look up. Touch fingertips if that's comfortable. If that's tough on shoulders, then keep your hands wide, but reach up even higher, even as you push down more through your sitting bones. So you're finding that energy moving in both directions. Take a big inhale. Exhale, take a twist over to the left side. Inhale, press down to lift up taller through your spine. Exhale, low ribs draw in to help you twist. Inhale, reach both arms up. Maybe touch fingertips, maybe look up. Exhale, take that twist over to the right side. Take a full, big, deep breath. As you root down through sitting bones, lift up higher through your crown. Exhale, low ribs in to twist. Inhale back into center. Now switch the cross of your legs, coming to the less comfortable cross for yourself. Shift your sitting bones to find that good connection, that rooted and downward energy. Take your hands to your upper thighs and push to help that energy happen. Lift your sides, shoulders up and back, lengthen up through the crown. And now take your hands behind your back to clasp. Big opening through your heart space. Lift your chest, lift your heart, lift your gaze. Take a big deep breath. From that rooting action through sitting bones, lift your heart up even higher. Then gently release your hands. Take your hands in front to clasp. Pull forward with your arms. This position that we know and love of opening up through our back body, side to side sway through your shoulders. Take a couple big breaths here and just notice, recognize for yourself what's happening through your back. Then inhale, sit tall, shift forward, come onto hands and knees. And from hands and knees, take just a moment to set up. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Rotate elbow pits forward and push, expanding into your back body. Tuck your toes under and lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog pose. So down dog is a wonderful pose to experience both of those energetic directions. So with a bend to your knees and a little bend to your elbows, push through the balls of your feet, push through your hands, lift your sitting bones up even higher. Take a big deep breath and feel the reach in both directions. And now walk your way forward, coming into your forward fold at the front of your mat. Take an inhale and lengthen part way. Exhale and fold over your legs. Hands to hips, press hips back. Start to lift up and open through your shoulders. Inhale, rise, coming all the way up to standing. And now take your gaze down to your feet and set your feet up. Rooting down to rise up is our goal in all of our poses, but in particular, as we come to stand, we're now further away from the floor with our attention and our gaze. So look down, lift and spread your toes, fire them up, and then push. And as you push, think of from your hips out through your feet, pushing down, and then stand taller. Inhale, stretch your arms up overhead. Take a hold of your right wrist and stretch over to the left side. Taking a little side stretch here. Push down through the floor with your feet and maybe stretch just a little bit further. Take a big deep breath and think of length, even though you're taking a side stretch, all the way through your crown. Inhale back up to center. Take a hold of your left wrist. Exhale over to the right side. Take a big deep breath. Again, a little bend to your knees to help you root. Push down and extend further through your sides, further through your spine. Inhale back up to center. Release your wrists. Exhale, fold over your legs. Inhale, lengthen part way. Exhale and fold. Plant fingertips, you're stepping right foot back into your lunge. Pause and push through your feet. And then rise up, lifting your torso. You can always have your back knee on the ground here. Center off with your hips and settle into your front knee. As you inhale and stretch both arms to the sky, just notice if you take your gaze up. I don't know if you noticed, but I just got a little wobbly from taking my gaze up. Just notice that. It means that oftentimes you have a little bit too much energy upward. So maybe take your gaze a little bit lower. Maybe take gratitude arms instead of reaching all the way up. Okay, so take a couple big breaths and notice for yourself. Sometimes if we're not as grounded, then taking our gaze all the way to the ground helps to stabilize. Take a big, deep, full breath and notice what you need to do. Exhaling, hands come down to the front of your mat. Step back to a downward facing dog pose and take a big, deep breath. Find that push from lats out through your hands and then from hips out through the balls of your feet. Inhale, come forward into your plank. Knees come to the ground if you'd like. Rotate elbow pits forward and push, ground, root. Extend your heart forward. Exhale, lower all the way to your belly. Take a big deep breath as you set your legs up. Then as you fill up your belly with breath, use that breath to help you rise up into whatever height cobra you need. Take whatever that is for you and expand even more through your heart space. Think of your collarbones broadening. Full deep breath. Exhale, downward facing dog pose, and take a full breath. And then walk your way forward, coming into your forward fold at the front of your mat. Take an inhale and lengthen. Exhale and fold. Plant your fingertips. Step left foot back into your lunge this time. Push with your feet. Root down into the floor to rise up. And again, take arms up if that's in your practice, or take gratitude, or maybe hands to your hips. Find what it is that feels the best in your body to be able to lift up and open through your heart space, through your crown. Find that opening. Take a big, deep breath. Wrap your right hip back. Settle deeper into your front knee and push into the floor with your toes, your front heel. One more big breath. And exhale, hands come down to the front of your mat. Step all the way back, downward facing dog pose, and take a full breath. Inhale, come forward into your plank. Knees to the ground if you would like. Rotate elbow pits forward and push. Extend your heart. Exhale, lower. And now this time, arms out in front of you, palms facing each other. And now plug in with your shoulder blades, draw them onto your back. Root down with the tops of your feet and your knees. And then engage your low belly, engage your low ribs. Inhale, lift arms and legs. If that's a lot for you today, maybe set your hands down in your cobra, but take a big deep breath wherever that is. Fill up your belly so that your belly expands into the ground. Maybe from that expansion, you rise up higher. Exhale, push all the way back into a child's pose, or the variation of child's pose that works for you right now. Take a couple big breaths. Push into the ground to rise up to hands and knees, and set yourself up well. And then lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog pose. Full deep breath. And then gently work your way forward, coming into your forward fold at the front of your mat. Feel free to use blocks here. I left mine over by the computer. So inhale and lengthen partway. Exhale, fold over your legs. Hands to hips. Push your hips back. Start to lift up and open through your shoulders and rise all the way up. And as you come up to your standing position, we'll take a standing balance. This is a great way to practice that concept of both rooting down and rising up, okay? So as you find your balance onto your left foot, pause before you actually put your right foot anywhere and notice the four corners of your left foot. Notice your big toe mound, your pinky toe mound. Notice the front of your heel. And then as you keep that balance onto the four corners of your left foot, turn your right toes sideways and set your foot wherever you need it to be on the side of your leg. Kickstand on the floor. Maybe pick it up and put it up high into your upper thigh, okay? Only place it doesn't get to go is resting on your knee. So as you find that place that works the best for your body, take a moment to notice what is happening with your balance, with the connection you have with the ground. Notice the four corners of your feet. And in particular, notice that front part of your heel. You have that spot at the front of your heel that sometimes if you have special orthotics made, then it pushes right into that front part of your heel. And that is what supports your arch and being able to lift. So as you push down with your big toe mound, Try to push with the front part of your heel. See if you can feel the difference between that and the back part of your heel. If not, that's okay too. See if you can find that push. And then lift your heart up higher, lift your chest, open your knee up more, and then your choice. You can stretch up here if you would like to. Your gaze can lift if you would like, and test it out and see. Often when we have too much of one thing and not enough of another energy-wise, then we can tell by when we do something like look up. So find where you need to have some balance. For me, that's less up and more straight ahead. So experiment with it. Notice, take a big deep breath. And as you find that push into the four corners of your foot, lift up higher, lift your sides, lift up through the crown of your head. Take a big breath. Good, hands come back to your hips and your foot comes back to the ground, and then pause with both feet on the ground. Or sometimes I like to say it with two sticks on the ground for your balance. It's amazing the difference that makes, right? It's not really that much more surface area coverage. So now notice the four corners of your right foot. As you start to shift your weight over to your right foot, notice your big toe mound, your pinky toe mound, and then the front part of your heel. Press it down. See if you can notice any shift in how much energy is going up through your arch when you do that. Maybe you'll experience it, maybe you won't, that's okay. Then turn your right toes, or turn your left toes and knee sideways. Push down into your right foot and set your left foot wherever you need it to be. Just remember, avoid the knee joint. It can always be picked up and put somewhere if it needs to be, okay? So now, as you push down more through the four corners of your foot, lift up taller and maybe stretch. Big, deep breath. And notice what happens with your balance as you lift your arms. So maybe you can even take your hands back to your hips if that helps you stay more grounded, more rooted. Maybe come to gratitude. Maybe arms outstretched. Take a big breath. And on your exhale, set your foot down, bring your hands back to your heart. And you're finding the four corners of your feet. So I mentioned that one part of the front of your heel. There are actually 2 points there, hence the four corners. So you can't tell that necessarily, so it seems more like 3. It's okay. Push big toe mounds down, pinky toe mounds down. Push your heels down, stand taller. Inhale, stretch up, maybe look up. Exhale, bend knees to fold over your legs. Inhale and lengthen part way. Exhale and fold. Fingertips plant, you're stepping right foot back into your lunge. This time turn and plant your back heel. And bring left elbow to your knee. You can always take it to a block on the outside of your leg if you would like to. But wherever it is, either push your elbow down or push your fingertips down. Bend into your front knee and then feel the push into the floor. From that, you might even lift and spread your toes to push. Feel the lift through your hips, through your ribs. Turn your belly and your heart more open and maybe stretch either over your ear or straight up. Straight up is a really nice way to feel that upward movement. Take a big deep breath. On your exhale, both hands come down to the front of your mat. Tuck your back toes. You can bring your back knee down or keep it lifted here. Set right hand on the side of your mat or on a block. Left hand to your knee as you turn your belly and your heart to the left side. And now twists are really cool, I think, because you really use that push down with your feet and your hand to help you turn your torso more and to strengthen your shoulders. So see if you can find that action and then stretch up. Big, full, deep breath. Root down again through feet, through maybe your back knee, your front hand, and lift up even taller. Your ribs lift, your fingertips lift. Exhale, both hands come down to the front of your mat. Step back for a downward facing dog pose and take a full breath. And now step your right foot forward in between your hands. Turn and plant your left heel. Bring right elbow to your knee, left hand to your hip. So you're finding that side angle pose variation. You can always bring your fingertips to a block on the outside of your leg, just like the last time if you did. And then push down with your feet. Bend into your front knee, and then turn open. And as you turn open, think of pushing down to help that twist to the left happen. Maybe stretch straight up or over your ear. Take a big, deep breath. Push down again and feel more lift through your ribs, more expansion through your heart. Exhale, both hands come down to the front of your mat. Tuck your back toes, and again, back knee can be up or down. Set your left hand on the edge of your mat, right hand to your knee. Start to turn your belly and your heart to the right side. And again, push. Push toes, front heel, maybe your back knee. Push your left hand and find that expansion upward and outward. Big breath. Exhaling, both hands come down to the front of your mat. Settle back onto hands and knees and settle hips to heels for a child's pose. Take a full breath. Inhale, gently push yourself up to your seat and then find your way all the way to sitting bones. And from sitting bones, feet come together in front of you in a diamond shape with your legs. Find your blanket and roll it up. And then we're setting our blanket over our feet and then wrapping the edges underneath our legs to give ankles a little bit of support. But feel free to add the blocks underneath your legs here if you would like. We're going to first do a little bit of movement in and out of a fold, and then we'll take a fold where you might rest over a bolster. So hands to your knees, take an inhale and push down as you lift up through your heart space. As you exhale, walk your hands down your legs toward your feet and maybe let your head come to rest on your blanket or on your hands. Inhale, rise up tall, lengthen, expand. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up tall, and exhale, fold. One more this way. Full inhale, long, deep exhale. And from here, if you would like to, you can always add the prop in between your legs to set your head down on for a few breaths and maybe more of a restorative version of this pose. And you can always stack your hands or set a block on top. Find a full deep breath and allow for the expansion to happen through your back body, but then some good rooting and grounding through your hips, through your feet. Just notice for yourself what that energy feels like in this pose. Inhale, gently rise back up and set your bolster aside or your pillow aside if you're using it. And you can set your blanket aside. You can have it ready to be underneath your neck if that feels good for you for Shavasana. But then we'll take one more spinal twist before coming all the way down to the ground. So left leg crosses underneath the right, so your heel comes back toward your hip. Right foot either comes to the inside or the outside of your front knee. You can always use your blanket underneath your hips here if they're not coming to the ground. Take a hold of your knee and hug it in. And then root down through your sitting bones. Try to push through your sitting bones. You might find yourself sitting a little bit taller when you do that. So that's the rooting down to rise up action. As you exhale, draw your low ribs in to help you twist in the direction of your right knee, so to the right side. Feel free to wrap your elbow. Feel free to use your right fingertips to help you ground and lift up taller. Take a big, deep breath. Inhale, come back up to center and uncross your legs and take right leg underneath and left foot to the inside or the outside of your leg, either one. And then engage your feet. Move your sitting bones. Hug your knee in towards your midline and lift your ribs. Long reach through your crown. And then if you want to, you can wrap your elbow. You can take your fingertips behind you if you'd like to help you root down and rise up more. Take a big, deep breath. Inhale, come back into center and uncross your legs. And we're going to make our way all the way down onto our backs. And from here, if you have your blanket that you'd like to put underneath your neck, you can. But hug your knees in, a couple rocks side to side. Footprints to the floor, walk your feet out as wide as your mat, if not wider. And then take a couple rotations with your legs in windshield wiper. Both knees to one side, both knees to the other side. And then as you come back up to center, walk your feet in a little ways to drop your knees in together to touch. Find that comfortable space for yourself. Hands come to rest at your belly or at your ribs. Wherever it feels good, let your eyes close and take a big breath as you notice your back body expanding into the ground and your front body expanding toward the ceiling. Inhale to expand and feel it in both directions. Exhale to release, settling. And then work your way into your most comfortable resting pose, whatever that looks like for you. Take that time again to shift, to prop, to find what feels good. Big deep breaths. And as you take those deep breaths, start to let your breaths also soften. Begin to take a deeper breath. And gently add movement into fingers and into toes. As you're ready to, you're bending your knees and rolling to your side. And slowly push yourself back up to your seat. And as you connect hands together at heart center with your eyes closed, take a moment to feel that energy in both directions, that rooting down energy, that rising up energy. Full inhales and exhales. Have a very peaceful, very beautiful rest of your day. Namaste.